Welcome guys, I'm Dave and this is episode 2. Our first piece is from Scott. Scott didn't have anything to say, he just sent these pictures and said thanks for your help. Right off the bat, Scott, I want to talk to you about what I think you did really well. Now if we come up here into this color up here, this red is packed in quite nicely. I don't see any holidays in there, any real serious openings. It looks consistent, so that's a plus. Same over here with this blue. There's little empty spots and whatnot, but it's in there. The yellow is packed and it's vibrant. Same with your blacks here. This is all in there. So when it comes to that, good job. Now, unfortunately, I think that's where things really stop. We'll start by quickly going over the line work here. And as you can tell, it's a little rough everywhere. Nothing is really consistent. I will say that the lines are in there, as in they're not going anywhere. They're bold, but they look like they were sketched in maybe, or many different passes. And you see that in a lot of areas. And I don't know if maybe this area was maybe worked a little harder than it needed to be. Up here, it looks like maybe there's some little bit of blowouts in here that maybe were covered up with a little bit more lining. So definitely take the time to work on your lining along with the shading. Now I see we have some stimpling going on here. And that's good. You've achieved a stimple, but unfortunately the shading doesn't really make sense. It's more important that when you're shading, remember to shade with the flow of things, whereas in here it looks like you just kind of came across it like this with the stimple, and unfortunately it just kind of makes it hard to read. Also, again, shading down in here in different areas, the values aren't really quite there. And again, continue to work on that lining. Your packing of the color is solid in here, so that is something. There's a lot of people who can do a lot of things, but they cannot get the color to saturate and look good healed. You have saturation and it's healed, but unfortunately, I would take a step back, maybe go back to some fake skin, make sure you can line a little bit more comfortably, a little more smoothly, and without having to make too many passes. Again, Scott, I hope this helps you out, and I don't want to discourage you. Keep pushing forward, but a lot of times, even for myself, I have to go backwards to go forwards. So keep at it, go backwards, practice these things a little bit more, work on shading, maybe watch a couple of shading videos or whatnot, but thank you for saying that in. Our next piece is from Andrew. Andrew did this piece soon after getting his equipment in. He jumped right into it. He started in the hair, and he lost the stencil from there on, so he kind of had to freehand it as he went. He hopes it's something he can look back on and see his improvement later. So let's dive in and take a look at this one. The Joker. Now off the bat, I think he's kind of cool looking. He's a little Joker guy. And for just getting your equipment and just trying this stuff out on your own skin, not the worst. But here's the thing, it's definitely a decent sized tattoo. It's taking up a lot of space on your skin. And you might regret that down the road. Space you could have put something decent in. So I always tell people, take your time, practice on some fake skin and different things before you use the valuable skin that you have. I would like to point out a few things I think you did well. Like if we start up here, I see that we have two different greens that are pretty well blended together. We have a lighter green here, a darker green here. It's packed in there well. The black seems to be packed in pretty well. When we come down here, the purple as well seems to be packed in well. The color is in there, and it's in there pretty decently, so that's a good thing. In the midst of negativity, we always want to try to find some positivity, so there's the positives. That's something to hang your hat on. Now beyond that is where we really things start to fall apart. Our lining, which I'm sure you're aware of, we have this really thick line right here, but then if you go over here, there's nothing. Same over here. Obviously this card is scratched in there pretty solid. Up here in the hair, it's almost as if this was done with a gray and not really a black. The face, again, I don't know what the actual reference looks like, but we're missing some things here. I don't know, I guess this is the nose. What I would do here is what I would like is a real thick border around this, real thick outline around the whole thing to really make it pop. And then you can kind of go back in as time goes on and smooth some of this stuff out, add some lines where you feel you need them, move some stuff around. I think you can still salvage this and make it a pretty cool little banger on your leg. But definitely work on your lines. Your packing of color looks decent. But anyhow, I hope that helps you out, and thank you for sending that in. Our next piece is from Rodney. Now, Rodney didn't send anything with it other than the piece. No information, so we have nothing to go off of here. So let's not waste any time and dive in and take a look. This one takes a few seconds to digest as you look it over. The biggest problem I see here are a lot of blowouts. A lot of blowouts. We have blowouts here, here, here. This is all too deep. Up here. Here. There's a lot of blowouts in this piece, so I'm not going to point every single one out. What does that mean? That could mean you're going too fast. It can mean your needles are out too far and you're going too deep. Obviously, you're putting that ink too far in. So you need to work that out and figure that out. You're going to go too deep or too shallow. So it is a happy medium. There is a balance, and the balance has not been met yet here in this piece. Another thing I appreciate that you're doing here, and what it appears that you're doing, is you're trying to do single pass lines, and I do appreciate that, because while some of them definitely look like they've been gone over a few times, there are plenty of them that are one pass. Are there blowouts in some of them? Yes, but you're getting there. What you need to do is maybe back your needles up, slow your machine down, whatever's going on, you need to just back it up a little bit. And I promise, if you do that and continue to work at it, you will get somewhere. Some other issues we have here are just the eyes in general, totally different sizes. Up here we have some very thick lines that look like, you know what, they were probably gone over several times. Same over here. So again, while there are a lot of blowouts here, I think you're moving in a direction. However, you need to, again, just back those needles off, slow down. And for people who are having effects like this, try not to take on such large pieces, even if it's on yourself. Start small so you can see these mistakes on a small scale, which are much easier to cover or fix or move on from. But if you do these on a large scale and you have a lot of blowouts and we're trying to figure things out. I get it, but try and do it on a smaller scale, not so large. I hope you understand. But nonetheless, thank you for sending that in, and I hope that it helps you out. Our next piece is from Shane. I've been only tattooing for just over a year and a half now. This is my first big piece I did on a friend's calf. All right, Shane, well, let's dive in and take a look. Okay, I think it goes without saying, we know who the character is, what the character is about, but I think that for a year and a half, I'm not sure if this is your expertise or what you do, but I think there's definitely some work that needs to be done here. Now, again, don't take anything I'm saying as offensive or anything like that, but this just gets way too muddy. Where is it mainly the most muddy is right here. Again, I'm not sure what the reference is supposed to look like, but it took me quite a while to realize that this was a pinky or a finger or whatnot, because it blends so much with the rest of it. The contrast is pretty off here, and that shows because, again, when I looked at it, I really had a hard time understanding what was happening, and you don't want that in a tattoo, especially not in a black and gray tattoo. Now, where I think things were done pretty decently is up here. I see that you have, a nice shading going on here, which blends down nicely into the skin. But again, the line work here is just really not the neatest. Personally, I feel like it is a bit sloppy and rushed. You come down here, the shading is, I don't know, it's just not very blended. We have what is a mixture of some bit of shaky lines with some values that seem to be hodgepodge put wherever. Again, we come up here, I'm not really sure what's going on with this finger, and you can't really see where it separates itself. I talked about this a bit in my prior video, but we need to understand what's further away and what's closer, okay? And sculpt things with your darkness. Use your darkness to say, hey, I'm behind, and push things forward. I would think his hands should be a little bit more forward, and what's behind it should be a little bit darker. But here is the same value as here, and here. It's just really hard to understand. Down here, I think we have some understanding of the lightness and what have you. For you on this piece, I feel like you rushed it. I feel like you were maybe a little bit nervous and you just went really quickly. Slow down, take your time. If this size piece takes you 2 sessions, then let it take 2 sessions. Don't rush it. But again, I think up here in the head, you did a decent job. Again, with the shading, I think the values were good. I can't really tell up here because there's a big light spot, can't see it too well. But the bulk of this is in these gloves and in this bottom portion of the face, and I think you just missed the mark there, and that comes down to maybe having a better understanding of your black and gray, a better understanding of your shades and what they look like in the skin. But keep pushing at it. Thank you for sending this in, and I hope this information helps you out. Our next piece is from Eric's. Eric's is in his 10th month of tattooing. Eric's is from the Philippines, and this is one of his more current pieces. So Eric's, let's take a look. Right off the bat, I think as a whole, it looks really nice. If we dive in here, I really like the different textures we have in the scales. They're not all perfectly the same. They're all a little bit different. So that's kind of nice, and it gives this nice effect, especially when looking at it from about this distance here. The face looks nice, the eyes are in there, they don't look too crazy, lips, everything looks really nice. Again, I'm a big fan of how you shaded these snakes and the scales. A couple of things, if I had to point some stuff out, would be some of the lines might be a little bit too wobbly. Right in here, for instance, a little bit missing. The other big thing that I noticed is you may have gotten a little bit tired towards the end because everything looks nice and somewhat polished, but you get up here in this hand, it really lost me. I feel like a little bit more time could have been spent here shading, setting stuff apart. Again, it kind of feels like you did this decent piece, you did a solid piece all the way up, you get up here and you just kind of let it go. I lose the hand, it just kind of looks like an outline with nothing really going on inside of it. The shading feels a little bit rushed, and I know it can be difficult when you've been tattooing for quite a while. You get to the end and you're almost just kind of want to be done, need to be done, whatnot. Slow down, take your time. It's one of the things I struggle with myself, is getting in that home stretch and knowing that I need to continue to stay consistent. I need to continue to keep on doing this. So thank you for sending that in, Eric's. You are doing a fantastic job, Eric's. Continue at it, and I look forward to seeing your work in the future. Big thank you to everybody who sent in their work. Again, guys, we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails to go through. I don't think I'm ever gonna get through them all, but I'm gonna try to find some. I'm gonna try to bring you some. So if you haven't seen your piece yet, it might come up in the future. It may not. Just be flexible. Again, I thank you guys for sending your work in. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope my 2 cents can somewhat help you out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Take it all with a grain of salt. Keep improving, keep rocking. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, guys. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring that bell to get notifications. And until next time, peace.